Namaste. I'm walking. It's I don't know, 7:20 maybe on July 12th, and I'm just doing my morning walk. I'm running a little late. I had hoped to have a little bit of peace, but I see there's a big truck in front of me that just started up, which means no peace for us this morning. I can't believe I'm actually going to try to do another talk while walking, because the last time I was just so hideously, it was so unflattering for me that I really chose not to post it. See the truck? Ooh boy. I'm going down, this is a short line connector to the Catonsville short line of the rail trail system, which is really lovely. Oh, look at all the chicory growing wild in that yard. House is for sale, they're not maintaining it. And this house just went for sale. This is a tiny little dead end road here. This house is for sale. I don't know if you can see it. Right there is the Beltway. You probably hear it in the background. They're asking like $450,000 for that house. It's the market, but it will change. I'm not going to worry about it, because of course we're still renting. I know that I promised that my next video would be my Baltimore story. I did have basically a family emergency come up, and it was the type of emergency that required time and attention. And I'm so grateful that I was able to give time and attention to the matter. I'm grateful that I was able to take some time from work and be where I was needed and offer the support that was needed. I hope this wind isn't bothering you either. And it took a lot out of me emotionally. I'm dealing with a situation within my family that is sadly, the horror is not mine per se, but this is also something that is a trigger for my PTSD. And I'm doing the best I can to offer love and support, time and attention where it's needed. And just, for my own self, I think what makes me feel better, what makes me feel like I'm healing, is that I can offer the time and attention and love where it's needed. So I'm grateful. This is an ongoing thing. I feel like this is something I've got a timer on. Literally within 3 months, this issue hopefully will come to a settlement and everybody will be okay. But in the interim, I'm going to make time and attention for that issue. So, that being said, my Baltimore story, I'm going to make it as brief as possible. Sorry about the hand. I had moved to Baltimore in 2018. It's because Galen bought the house of his dreams, the house that he built, and it was in a horrible neighborhood. And I agreed to move there for a year and try it out. Well, the year came and went. At the end of the year, I was so unhappy. I could not stay there. And that's why I left Baltimore. Unfortunately, I had to leave Galen in Baltimore. He loved it. He was very happy there. As you know, that's when I bought the condo. And we went for 2 years. Him in his house in Baltimore City, me in the condo. When we, good morning. I need to learn how to edit. So after the year and I bought the condo, 2 years living apart, I think COVID really brought a lot to light, as it did for freaking everybody in the world. I know when COVID hit, he wanted me to move in there with him so that we could isolate. I told him, I said, I can't do Baltimore. I can't. So we found a way. We continued to be together, but I lived in Columbia, he lived in the city. When we decided last August to get engaged, which was not a light decision, and I always told him I didn't want to be engaged unless we were going to get married. This long engagement thing is not my style. So when we finally made the decision, we got officially engaged August 18th. And I did agree to move back into Baltimore while he was in the process of purchasing a lot about not even a quarter mile from the house. So he wanted to purchase this lot, and he was planning on either putting 2 houses there or a duplex, and he wanted to finish this project. So I agreed. I said, okay, I'll move to the city, finish your work, and then we'll move on. Well, that's when I moved back. I was there for 4 months. Loved the house, hated the neighborhood, miserable. And honestly, my daughter said I must have manifested this, but I know that's not true. But within those few months, that's when a violent attack on Galen occurred. Thank God it was not on his physical being, but they slashed 8 tires on his car and his work truck, took a cement block and beat the hell out of his truck. And they also sent someone to the door telling him to back off of, any building or properties or anything in the area. Well, we never knew this, but there is apparently a slumlord cartel in this part of Baltimore who did not like a builder being in the neighborhood, doing things by code, bringing attention from the city inspectors and everything into the neighborhood. Well, after this attack and the great expense that it took on us, and not only the expense of replacing 4 giant truck tires on his work truck, the body work on the truck, 4 tires on our little car, and the emotional damage that it did, where for 2 weeks we had to stay there. 2 more weeks we had to find a place to rent. We put the house on the market, we sold the house, we got an offer on it, found a place to rent. We are back in Catonsville where we were 5 years ago, not the same place, but back in town in Catonsville area. And it took 2 weeks to get out. 2 weeks of me not being able to walk, not being able to get out of the house, afraid to walk to the car. God knows you wouldn't open the door. We even were afraid. We had an alarm system, but after our experience where the police would not come out when all the violence happened, we realized that the police were not coming to the neighborhood at all. So even if our house alarm went off and called the police, it was highly unlikely that they would come out. So it was a scary 2 weeks. I did not want to leave him there alone and move to my mother's or stay with my daughter during that time. I felt that I needed to be there with him. But suffice to say, we somehow managed to get it done and get out and get a place, a peaceful place where we could stay until we regrouped and figured out what we're going to do. I will not cross the city line again. For anybody who hears news on Baltimore, it is, I think we're at a big explosion point where there's no secret that there's no law. It's complete lawlessness. There's open air drug markets. The squeegee kids, who by the way are not kids, they're men, are carrying guns. There's been several instances recently of the squeegee workers, whatever the hell they are, shooting. They shot and killed a 48-year-old man right in downtown at Conway and Light, which is where Harbor Place which was supposed to be the jewel of Baltimore. It has invaded every corner, every street. There is no safe space in Baltimore. It's very sad. The city has been degrading for decades. Houses are falling. Last year, one of the abandoned roadhouses was caught on fire. Yes, this was due to criminal behavior. 3 firefighters lost their lives trying to save a freaking abandoned row house in the middle of a row of abandoned row houses. How horrible is that? Well, the list goes on. I'm not crossing the Baltimore line. I live just inside the Beltway, only about a mile maybe from the city line. But at least here we have county police, thank God. But I will not cross the line. He still owns a property in the far reaches of that neighborhood, which is a nightmare. Thankfully, he just listed it. He wants to rent it. This is one of those business, I don't want to say mistakes, but it was a learning thing, whereas he purchased a really messed up old row house in a horrible neighborhood, but one where people lived, and he renovated it and he wanted to use it as a rental property. Well, talk about over renovating. He put a ton of money, a ton of time into this property, and he realized that he could never sell it and recoup the cost, so he decided to use it as a rental. So grace shown on him, and Morgan State had a lease with him for 3 years to house some of their students, and they absolutely trashed the place. However, we knew that if something horrible were to happen, that the contract was with Morgan State and they would honor any, they would take responsibility. Well, basically the kids trashed it, but now that the lease is up 3 years later, he is going in, he has to replace the drywall, has to repaint everything, paint the trim, replace the carpeting. I mean, the list goes on. But okay, that's part of having a rental property. But now there's no one who wants to pay the rent on it. And the terrifying part is, if someone were to rent it the way it works in Baltimore, which I guess really is the way it works most places, it's very hard to evict anyone. And you could end up with a squatter there or somebody living there for a year, and you have to pay court costs and try to get them out. And of course, as a landowner, you're responsible for what happens. We had a discussion about the viability of renting the property. Well, I am so grateful that he did talk to our realtor, and he's listing it today. Oh, please. The only sad thing is, I know he thinks he's going to get a lot more. He wants to recoup his costs, but there is an element of sunk costs that you're not going to be able to recover. I mean, you have to sometimes know when it's time to cut and run. So I hope he knows. I think he has learned so much through this last attack. Learning that, and this is a sad thing that's come of it, is that through this process, it made me see how privileged he is and how he took for granted that he would have police protection in one of the horrendous neighborhoods. Well, the police are like, we're not going in there. It's on you. And that's wrong from the police standpoint, but it does show his privilege in thinking that he would be okay, that he would come out unscathed, because he's a good guy. But they don't care. The city don't care whether you're a good guy or not. It was about 2 weekends ago, just a horrendous shooting. They shot and killed a pregnant woman. The depth of just heinousness, evilness in the city is beyond the pale. So this, instead of my Baltimore story, has turned into a Baltimore rant. I'm still processing all of this. We're still dealing with this. So please, I guess I'm being privileged by asking for indulgence. But I need to get it out, and we need to move beyond it. But for more time that's put between it, I've realized I don't want to be anywhere near the city. I got to move further away than we are now. We'll see what the next chapter is and how we handle this. So I'm just going to send a lot of energy into hoping we can sell this house and get out. We need to get out, so that's what I'm hoping for. So that was kind of a very ranty version of my Baltimore story. Just all the crazy in my life. And hey, you know, oh, here I am. I don't know what that is, but hey, whatever. It is amazing to me that we all, every single one of us has our trials. Every single one of us has these things that happen, and every single one of us have to fight to get through it. And for me, when I listen to myself talk out loud, I'm whining and moaning about a rental property when I should just thank God I have a roof over my head, when so many people don't. So I'm trying to check my privilege right now. But honestly, this other issue, my other family issue, is what's taking hold. And that's my priority. So I'm heading into my busy season at work. I'm heading into my 50-hour weeks. So my time is going to probably be even more limited, but I'm going to do my best to continue to vlog for my mental health and to keep moving forward. So if you did listen to my ramble again, I love you. Thank you. And even though I don't see you or know you or think I'm just all by myself out there in the ether, in the internet verse or whatever the hell it is, it helps me get through my day sometimes. So I do appreciate that. So now my drama must end. I'm going to the playground for my workout. I'm going to go hang. I'm going to pull. And I'm going to hang from my knees because monkey bars are still fun. Thank you. I'm wishing you the best. Light and love. Peace.